In the small town of Elderswood, nestled between thick forests and rolling hills, lived a girl named Sarah. With her wild curls bouncing as she ran, she was often seen darting into the trees, where the sunlight filtered through the leaves like golden rain. Her adventurous spirit was well known, and the woods were her sanctuary, a place where she felt truly alive and free. Sarah had always been drawn to nature, her senses heightened by the soft rustling of leaves and the sweet chirping of birds. Each adventure seemed to uncover new wonders. A hidden meadow bursting with wildflowers, a felled tree turned into a stage for impromptu performances, or even the peculiar arrangement of stones that hinted at ancient secrets. These explorations fueled her imagination, but none intrigued her quite like the old well that lay deep within the forest. Legends whispered among her local friends spoke of an ancient well that sang softly to those who dared to listen. It was said that if you ventured close enough, you could hear a melody that reached into your heart, stirring long-forgotten memories. Sarah's grandmother had shared stories about it during quiet nights filled with warm cider, tales filled with magic and nostalgia that left an indelible mark on Sarah's adventurous soul. As she grew older, curiosity blossomed into an insatiable quest for knowledge about the well. What secrets did it hold? Who had come before her? Compelled by these questions, Sarah found herself standing before its weathered stone rim one crisp afternoon, as the sun dipped low in the sky and shadows danced along the ground. The sight of it stirred something deep within her. A whisper of familiarity beckoned her closer, as if the well itself recognized her presence and knew her name. Determined to explore every inch of the woods, Sarah ventured deeper than she ever had before, her heart racing with excitement and trepidation. As she pushed through thickets of wild brambles and navigated the twists and turns of the familiar trails, the atmosphere began to shift around her. The sunlight waned, filtering less through the thickening canopy overhead, and a gentle chill settled in the air. Suddenly, as she rounded a gnarled oak tree, Sarah came upon a clearing she hadn't seen before. There, at its center, stood the old well, a crumbling structure engulfed by nature's embrace. Dark green vines snaked around the stonework like delicate fingers reaching out, while patches of moss clung closely to its surface, giving it an ancient charm that felt almost alive. The stones were weathered and worn, telling tales of time long past. Sarah stepped closer, drawn by an inexplicable force. An eerie yet enchanting ambience enveloped her. She could hear soft sounds emanating from within, the gentle drumming of water droplets meeting the cool surface below mixed with an ambiguous melody that danced on the edges of her awareness. It was as if the well itself held a secret breath, whispering age-old stories just out of reach. Peering into its depths, Sarah noticed sparkling flecks of light reflecting off the water far below. The shadows twisted within like ghostly figures that beckoned her curiosity further. Could this be the place? She wondered aloud, recalling the legends shared by her grandmother. She leaned in closer, only to hear that alluring melody intensify for an instant before fading into silence, leaving her breathless, yearning to uncover what lay beneath its surface. In that moment, surrounded by tall trees and hidden reveries, Sarah knew she had stumbled upon something extraordinary. The ancient well pulsed with life and mystery beyond her wildest dreams. As Sarah stood at the edge of the well, a soft breeze rustled through the leaves, almost as if urging her to listen closely. The mysterious ambience surrounding her deepened, and she closed her eyes for a moment, allowing herself to absorb the forest's whispers. Then, like a gentle caress, an ethereal melody floated up from the depths of the well, a haunting song that seemed to weave itself into the very fabric of her being. The sound was unlike anything she had ever heard. It was as if the notes were alive, dancing effortlessly on the air. They shimmered like sunlight on water, rippling through her thoughts and pulling at her heartstrings. Each note resonated with a deep familiarity, invoking emotions within her that she had long buried beneath layers of childhood dreams and adventures. She opened her eyes, entranced by the shimmering surface of the well's water, which appeared to ripple in time with the song. It felt as though it was calling out to her, inviting her to lean closer and uncover its secrets. The melody shifted and swayed like the branches overhead, intertwining with her heartbeat until it grew impossible to distinguish where she ended and the song began. With every passing second, Sarah felt herself becoming more entwined with the haunting sound. She began to sway gently, lost in its beauty as nostalgia washed over her. Visions of laughter shared with her grandmother and stories about enchanted places danced in her mind. It was a sweet sorrow that filled her heart, urging her to remember moments that had shaped her spirit. As the final notes echoed softly into silence, leaving only lingering echoes in the air, Sarah's heart raced. She realized that this magical well held more than just water. It housed memories and emotions waiting to be uncovered within its depths. The connection between them was undeniable. This place knew her name and everything she yearned to discover. As Sarah stood before the well, the haunting melody still echoing in her mind, a wave of nostalgia washed over her. She remembered sitting by the fire on cold winter nights, her grandmother weaving tales of enchantment and adventure. Those stories were filled with magic, especially the one about the old well, the very same structure that now stood before her. Her grandmother had painted vivid pictures with her words, describing how the well was said to be a portal between worlds, where lost souls sang their heart's desires into the universe. According to legend, it had once belonged to a wise woman who used its depths to offer guidance and solace to those in need. Sarah would listen intently, her imagination igniting as she envisioned herself standing at that very spot, just like she was now. Feeling an invisible thread connect her to those cherished memories, Sarah stepped closer to the well's edge. The air felt different here. It buzzed with a sense of history that enveloped her like a warm embrace. It was as if the melodies she heard were not merely echoes of random notes but rather whispers of generations past. Her grandmother's voice mingled within them. The more she thought about it, the more she realized how intertwined their lives were with this place. It was not just an old structure overrun by vines. It was a keeper of family secrets and legacies. Her heart swelled with affection for her grandmother and gratitude for passing down these tales that seemed to come alive in this moment. Sarah closed her eyes again, letting memories flood back. Her grandmother's laughter, their shared dreams of adventure, and those heartfelt stories about love and longing that echoed from the depths of the well. With each recollection, she felt more resolute. This journey was not only about uncovering mysteries but also about honoring the bond between past and present, a connection that would guide her forward as she sought answers hidden within this enchanted place. As Sarah lingered at the edge of the well, the haunting melody swirled around her like a gentle mist, wrapping her in its embrace. It was as if the song itself was alive, beckoning her closer with an irresistible force that sent shivers down her spine. She could almost hear her name whispered in the notes, a sweet summons from a place she had only begun to understand. Conflicted emotions surged within her. Part of her yearned to leap into the depths of the well, to surrender to the call and discover what lay beneath the shimmering surface. Yet another part felt a surge of apprehension, reminding her of the stories that spoke of consequences for those who ventured too far into its magic. What if she uncovered truths not meant for her? What if the well held more than just memories and melodies? Standing there, Sarah felt caught between two worlds, one filled with wonder and possibility, and the other shrouded in uncertainty and fear. The melody intensified, filling every corner of her mind, as though it was weaving a spell around her heart. Each note resonated like a heartbeat, drawing her closer to both the well and herself, a connection she could not ignore. With each breath, she sensed that this was more than just a chance encounter. It was a calling intertwined with her very essence. The well was not merely an artifact of legend. It felt like an extension of her own spirit, echoing desires she had yet to fully comprehend. Closing her eyes again, she allowed herself to imagine what it would be like to dive into those depths, to uncover not just the secrets of the well, but also those hidden within herself. The idea both thrilled and terrified her, igniting a spark of courage amidst the swirling uncertainty. As she opened her eyes, determination glimmered within them. She knew she must confront this call, for it was a journey that promised transformation and discovery beyond anything she had ever known. Determined to uncover the truths of the well, Sarah set out on a quest that would take her through Elderswood and beyond. She knew that legends often had roots in reality, and it was time to dig deeper into the stories whispered among townsfolk. Armed with a notebook and a heart full of curiosity, she began her journey. Her first stop was Mrs. Jennings, the town librarian, an elderly woman known for her vast knowledge of local folklore. As Sarah pushed open the heavy wooden door, the faint scent of aged paper greeted her like an old friend. Mrs. Jennings sat behind the counter, spectacles perched on her nose, immersed in a tattered book. "Ah, Sarah, I've always admired your adventurous spirit," she smiled warmly as Sarah approached. "What brings you here today?" With excitement bubbling in her chest, Sarah recounted her discovery of the well and the enchanting melody that had captivated her heart. A glimmer of recognition flickered in Mrs. Jennings's eyes as she leaned forward, eager to share what she knew. "Many have come before you drawn by its magic," she said thoughtfully. "In years past, it was believed that the well belonged to a wise woman, a seer who would guide lost souls with her songs." Mrs. Jennings guided Sarah to a dusty shelf filled with history books and local legends where she found tales of others who had felt the call of the well. Over the next few days, Sarah visited several locals: an elderly fisherman who claimed to have heard whispers while fishing nearby, a farmer whose ancestors were said to be benefited by guidance from the well, and a young artist who painted visions inspired by its magic. Each encounter added colorful threads to the tapestry of stories surrounding the ancient structure. As new pieces fell into place, Sarah felt as if she was part of something greater than herself, a lineage of seekers yearning to unlock hidden truths. Inspired by their accounts and armed with newfound knowledge, she resolved to return to the well with more than just curiosity. She would honor those who came before her by exploring this magical realm further than ever before. With a growing sense of purpose, Sarah continued her exploration of Elderswood, eager to speak with more townsfolk about the enchanting well. Her next stop was at Old Man Harold's General Store, a place where the scent of fresh bread mingled with old wood and spices. As she entered, the bell above the door chimed softly, announcing her arrival. Old Man Harold sat behind the counter, his gray beard dancing as he chuckled at her enthusiastic demeanor. "Ah, what brings you here, young explorer?" he asked, his eyes twinkling with mischief. Sarah wasted no time recounting her experience at the well. To her delight, Harold leaned back in his chair, a knowing smile spreading across his face. "You've heard its song, then?" he said, stroking his chin thoughtfully. "Many have felt its pull. Some say it speaks the names of those it wishes to guide." His voice lowered conspiratorially as he shared tales of wanderers and dreamers who had found solace by the well. Encouraged by his response, Sarah pressed on for more stories. Harold told her about a young couple who'd thrown coins into the well for guidance before their wedding, claiming they felt blessed afterward. He also spoke of a girl who had come seeking answers for her sick mother. Upon hearing the melody, she had returned home to find her mother miraculously recovered. Intrigued by these accounts, Sarah thanked Harold and left the store, her heart racing with anticipation of what she might discover next. She wandered toward the town square, where she encountered Miriam, a local artist known for painting vibrant landscapes inspired by Elderswood's natural beauty. Miriam greeted Sarah warmly and listened intently as she spoke of the well. "I've painted it many times," she said wistfully, "but only after hearing its song do I feel it comes alive on canvas." She insisted that the melody contained hidden meanings that only true seekers could decipher, a challenge that ignited Sarah's determination. Each encounter added layers to Sarah's understanding of the well and its magic. With every story shared, she felt herself becoming part of a larger narrative, a community bound by the mysteries surrounding this ancient structure. As dusk began to settle over Elderswood, Sarah could hardly contain her excitement. Each revelation pulled her closer to unlocking the secrets of the well and discovering what awaited her in its depths. With each story Sarah gathered, the well's mysteries began to intertwine with her own life in unexpected ways. One evening, inspired by her encounters, she returned to the secluded spot where the well stood, determined to listen more closely. As she approached, the fading light painted the scene in swirling hues of orange and purple, and the melody filled the air once more, familiar yet ever-changing. This time, however, Sarah felt a deeper resonance within the song, a thread that tugged at her heart. She closed her eyes, allowing herself to drift into the sound. The notes danced around her like wisps of memory, and vivid images began to flash before her mind's eye. Moments from her childhood spent with her best friend Lucy, laughter echoing through the woods, and whispers of dreams shared under starlit skies. But as the song deepened, darker shades crept in. The sadness of their separation as Lucy moved away, leaving a void in Sarah's heart. Tears brimmed in her eyes as she realized that the well might be channeling not just echoes of others' pasts, but also her own heartache. It dawned on her that the haunting melody carried messages from all who had ever cherished it, and that she was not alone in her longing. The more Sarah listened, the clearer the connections became, to her friends, family, and even to lost loves that had shaped her identity. The song was woven with feelings of joy and sorrow, representing every person who had stood before it through time. Each note seemed to tell a story of love lost or never realized, capturing an essence of longing that transcended generations. As the last notes faded into silence, Sarah's heart felt heavy yet strangely lighter, the burdens of her past woven into a deeper understanding of herself. In this moment of clarity, she resolved to embrace her memories of love and loss, allowing them to guide her forward as she continued her journey. The well was not merely a relic but rather a vessel of collective human experience, a reminder that every heartache could lead to growth and new beginnings. As twilight descended on Elderswood, casting long shadows across the forest floor, Sarah returned to the well, her heart racing with anticipation and trepidation. The enchanting melody pulsed in the air, more pronounced than before, wrapping around her like a warm embrace. Yet, beneath the allure of its beauty lay a whisper of warning, an unspoken reminder that delving too deeply into its magic could lead to unforeseen consequences. Standing at the edge, she peered into the depths of the well, feeling an intoxicating pull urging her to lean in closer. Memories of her previous encounters flooded back, the stories of locals who had experienced both joy and sorrow intertwined with the well's song. Was it truly a guide, or could it lead her astray? The weight of responsibility pressed down on her. She knew this decision could shape her path forever. Breath caught in her throat, Sarah wrestled with conflicting thoughts. Part of her longed to plunge headfirst into the mystery, to explore its depths and unlock secrets waiting just below the surface. The other part hesitated, fearing that embracing such power might unearth feelings and truths she wasn't ready to confront. What if the well revealed not only dreams but also nightmares? In that moment, she closed her eyes and listened. The melody resonated with her soul, as familiar as her own heartbeat yet filled with whispers from strangers beyond time. The echoes seemed to promise insight and healing, but also held warnings wrapped in shadows. Could she handle what lay ahead? Taking a deep breath, Sarah felt a surge of clarity wash over her. This was not merely about discovering secrets. It was a chance for transformation, a test of courage to face both light and darkness within herself. With resolve igniting her spirit, she stepped closer to the edge once more, finally making up her mind to delve deeper into the well's mystery and embrace whatever magic awaited her on this extraordinary journey. With the decision to embrace the magic of the well firmly in her heart, Sarah stepped closer to its edge, feeling a vibrant energy surge within her. The melody swelled around her, filling the air with a palpable sense of anticipation. Closing her eyes, she surrendered to the music, allowing it to envelop her completely. As she opened herself to its power, the world around her began to shift and swirl. In an instant, the well's depths seemed to stretch infinitely below, transforming into a luminous abyss that pulsed like a heartbeat. The haunting song morphed into vivid images, spirits swirling around her in a dance of light and shadow. They were figures from her past. Her grandmother's gentle smile radiated warmth, while echoes of laughter intertwined with whispers of wisdom filled the air. Suddenly, Sarah found herself standing in a serene meadow bathed in golden light. There, amidst wildflowers and tall grass, stood a figure familiar yet distant. Her grandmother, resplendent as if untouched by time. "You've come," she said softly, her voice blending with the melody that surrounded them. "You've always known this place called to you." Sarah's heart raced as she stepped forward, tears welling in her eyes. I didn't understand before. I thought I was alone. Her grandmother smiled knowingly. You carry our stories within you, the loves we've lost and the lessons learned. The well is not just about magic. It connects you to those who came before you. As Sarah listened intently, profound truths flooded over her like waves at the shore, each note of the song resonating with memories of heartache and joy alike. She realized that with every experience shared at the well, she was not just uncovering familial secrets, but also gathering strength for her own journey. When she looked again at her grandmother, desire ignited within her. She wanted to remember those who had loved deeply and hurt profoundly, but always persevered. Will I be able to carry on for us? She asked. Always, came the gentle reassurance. Embrace your path and let your heart write new songs. In that climactic moment of connection between reality and fantasy, Sarah emerged with clarity and courage, knowing that she held both love's lessons and magic's power as she turned back toward the well, a bridge between worlds that would guide her forward into new beginnings. As Sarah stepped away from the well, the ethereal melody faded into the gentle rustling of leaves, leaving her profoundly transformed. The encounter with her grandmother had opened her heart to a flood of understanding about herself and her family's legacy. With each breath, she felt lighter and more grounded, a sense of purpose surging through her veins like the warm sun filtering through the treetops. With newfound wisdom, Sarah realized that love and loss were not burdens to bear, but integral threads woven into the fabric of life. The stories shared by the well were not just echoes from the past. They were a vibrant tapestry of human experience that linked her to her ancestors and the very essence of nature itself. This realization ignited a passion within her to honor those connections, both with her family and the land around her. Walking through the woods, she became acutely aware of every sound, the chirping of birds, the whisper of the wind, and even the distant babble of a nearby stream. Each element seemed to resonate with a deeper meaning, reminding her that she was part of something greater than herself. The trees felt like guardians offering their strength, encouraging her to embrace her heritage and the stories waiting to be told. As she made her way home, Sarah envisioned the path ahead filled with possibilities. Inspired by the legacy she'd uncovered, she felt compelled to share her experiences and insights with others in Elderswood. Perhaps she would hold gatherings where people could share their own stories, connecting through memories of loss and love while celebrating life's magic together. Reinvigorated by this vision, Sarah understood that the well had not only transformed her perception, it had empowered her to become an ambassador of hope and resilience. In this new chapter of her life, she recognized that she carried within her both a rich history and an adventurous spirit ready to explore all that lay ahead. An endless journey filled with learning, laughter, and love. On a quiet afternoon, Sarah felt the pull of the well one last time, a familiar melody whispering in her heart. She returned to the sacred spot, a place that had become far more than just stones and water. It symbolized her journey of growth and self-discovery. The sun hung low in the sky, casting golden rays that sparkled like jewels upon the water's surface, shimmering with memories of her past. Standing at the edge, she closed her eyes and took a deep breath, inhaling the sense of moss and damp earth, the very essence of the forest surrounding her. The well seemed to hum with life, its magic still palpable in the air. In her mind's eye, she could see scenes from her recent experiences flash before her. Visions of laughter shared with friends, heartfelt conversations with villagers, and the warmth of her grandmother's presence guiding her. As she opened her eyes, Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of acceptance wash over her. She understood that every memory, joyful or painful, had shaped her into who she was meant to be. The lessons imparted by the well echoed deeply in her heart. It taught her that love persists even through loss, and that embracing one's heritage could illuminate the path forward. She knelt by the well and whispered a quiet promise to honor what it had revealed to her. "I will remember," she said softly. "I will carry these stories within me." With each word, she reaffirmed her commitment to share not only her journey, but also those of others who ventured near its magical embrace. As dusk approached, Sarah turned away from the well feeling lighter than ever. It had given her clarity and purpose, a reflection of all that she cherished. Strengthened by its wisdom, she walked back through the woods with renewed determination, ready to face whatever lay ahead, forever linked to the spirit of the well and its enchanting melodies. Embracing her identity now felt like a song waiting to be written, a continuing story filled with love and hope as she stepped into a bright future.